Hello, I'm just checking if everything is streaming properly. I hope so. I'm trying a different thing today, so I'm streaming actually live to Twitch and to YouTube using a different platform. It seems like the data is being transferred over. I'm just not sure. Oh, it looks actually like it's also on the YouTube. So cool. Also, what is new, I have a new microphone and it's a lot more sensitive, so I can have it a bit further away from my mouth, meaning that you don't need to see it all the time. Was it actually in the view now? No, it's not. I don't think so. No, it's just off the view. So that's great, right? So, and I think I should sound a bit nicer. There should not be any weird noises in it. Please leave a comment first of all if you can actually see me, otherwise I'm just talking to myself and we don't want to have that, I think. So yeah, let me know if all is good and say hello from where you're joining in. It's like 1 p.m. for me now on May the 2nd. So happy May first of all, I guess. So I'm just waiting for a few more peeps to join in, but in the meantime I'll be talking about what this will be all about. And essentially, on Discord, we have started a greater community about look dev and lighting, and it's growing into more than that actually, which is nice. And the cool thing is that we are hosting a few challenges over there. One is like a channel challenge for like, I'm just giving you guys references and I'm asking you guys to reproduce it, and we are voting on the best models or the best results. And then we also have a team challenge, which we just started. It's a collaboration project. So anyways, enough chat about this. So if you guys want to join in on the fun or just get the scenes I'm working today, you can totally just go on the Discord channel as well, which is, the link is in the description below, and you can just pick that up. I think it should be there. Yeah, Discord community. Let me just post that link in the chat as well. It just means that you can actually download or just join the community, and then you find in some of those challenges, you find the link to the download files for this, and you just can play along. It's nothing spectacular. It's mostly about look dev or procedural shading techniques. So right now we've got 25 watching, and I think it's great to just give it a start. Let's see. Good day and chat. Hello everyone. Yeah. So I think we might be good. Let me know if the audio is good and the video is good, because as I said before, I'm streaming using a different platform today, to Twitch and to YouTube. So let me know, please, and then we just get going, I think. So let's see if I can actually open a few more windows here. Let's see what else we have. Anyway, so let me see. I'm just waiting for some more comments here. Stream is fantastic, love it. Okay, great. Tim is back as well. I know Tim already. He's been there around, so that's great for him to be here. Thank you, guys. All right, so also I'm working with my Wacom here. It's just a bit nicer. I don't think you hear it that much. It's not that annoying. All right, so as you can see, I have Maya loaded up. Heads up display, polygon off. Yes, I'm offering classes on Patreon. If you want to check that out, just visit me on my Patreon page, and then you will find those tiers where you can see those the classes or mentoring. So if you want to check that out, it's over there. I'll post Twitch as well, and then we finally can get going. I'm actually not sure how to share this on Twitch. I'm so new to Twitch. I'm sorry. I'm such an old guy. Dang it. Where's that share button? I guess it must be on my page. Let's see if I can find a way to share this on Twitch. Well, you can just find me on here, I think. I think that's the way to do it. All right. So anyways, enough talk. So as I said, we have the bubble wrap, we've got the bubble gum, and we've got the orange, and they are actually in the order as I have them here at the bottom. It's the order of difficulty as well. Like I was really struggling to get the like a procedural look for the orange. It was super tricky to just get the mold looking moldy and then everything glossy. So it was a bit tricky for sure. This one has its difficulty to create this pattern procedurally, and I'll be going into that as well. And next up, or the first thing is this bubble wrap. I think this is, obviously it's also a bit tricky, but it's maybe a little bit easier to pull it off. So I think I'll just get going with this bubble wrap. Just at least I'll just show you this, the processes I would go into to get this guy, to get this up to speed, right? So I have my little scene here. It's just, oh, did I move the camera now? I hope not. Let's just preview on the view change. Is that my camera? Yeah, it was. So I'm just locking the camera. So it's just as plain in this environment, right? So, and I don't have anything on here as far as I know, just a default shader. So I'm just assigning what I always just do. I just create a standard surface shader, AI standard surface, select my object and just assign this like so. And let's just call this MTL bubble wrap. And also what I'm doing for my render settings, because I'm previewing stuff, and it's also a good habit for you guys. You always keep asking me, why is my render so fast, right? And the trick is obviously to reduce your render settings. Go to 1 for the depth and maybe 2 AA samples, and your renders will be super fast. And only for final render settings you should push it up. All right, so let's see what's going on. So I'm just like being interrupted so much, but this is great. Okay, so we've got 1 Twitch viewer and 41 on YouTube. Amazing. So keep sharing, keep promoting, help me out here. All right, so if I start the render now, let's just hit play. Make sure you have progressive on. Let's switch to the main camera, and this is the view we have right now. And my Skydome light, also a good habit is always to have at least 2 samples in your lights. It just clears up the noise a lot. You can even go 3 if you have low AA samples. And you can see now just by doing this, I'm not even touching render settings, we have a super clean or a very clean render. So the idea for the bubble wrap, so you can see that we have those circular patterns, and then they are interrupted with some indented things like, and my idea is first create a radial object and scatter this on the surface, like staggered left and right, and then on top of that like add some kind of stretchy noise. So we might have to do 3 different things. So one is obviously to displace it and add displacement. So let's first try to get this to get the overall pattern. So I'm just using an AI ramp. I hope that's the way I did it. And I'm just connecting it right now just to the surface shader, just to get some really fast feedback. And let's see if I do it on what is it, circular? At some point, let me see if I can actually get something here. Let's just maybe go first to perspective to see what's actually happening. And I actually don't know what the UVs look like. Does it have UVs at all? I don't actually think this one has UVs. So if that's not the case, then we definitely need to get one first. So let's see if we have UVs here. No, okay, so that was a good start. So obviously let's just create a fairly quick, just like a frontal, like we can just create UVs from camera, right? It doesn't matter much. So let's just go to the UV editor and open up the toolkit, and then we just do create, and we want it based on plane, I think, or we can just do camera based. I think this should do it. So now we have front-facing UVs. Obviously, it's not the best. I thought I was actually, I thought I had UVs on it. Doesn't matter though. So now we have UVs, and now let's see if we can If I play now, if we see something, yeah, there we go. So now we've got the sphere, and that was the idea, to get the sphere working, or the circle. And then with that, we can actually produce this kind of, let me just crop this. So we just isolate a few ones, and then we can zoom them in a bit. And let's just make them smaller so they don't interfere much. All right, so bubble wrap. Let's now try something. Obviously we get the shape later, but there's like something called a AI UV transform. And I'm just trying to use the Arnold default nodes. So I'm not using Maya specific nodes, which means that you should be able to follow along with any other Arnold software, right? That's the beauty of this. 0.2. So now we're scattering them, right? So now we've got this, and I think there is a stagger option as well, like that, right? So now you can already see by ticking the stagger option in the UV modifier, we already get the same pattern, which is great, right? Obviously now we just need to update the scale. Let's just hide the render tiles so they don't interrupt us here. All right, so now we've got the pattern, and if we look, obviously we can scale them later if we need to. Let me just read the comments here. Oh, pure ref. It's called pure ref. Pure ref. Okay, yeah, all right. So next up is obviously we want to use this as a displacement. So we want to actually push it up. So we have like this little round top and whatnot, right? So obviously right now, if we would apply this as a displacement, this would only extrude the white parts outside, or depending how you want to set it up. On default, the Arnold displacement shader is on 0, which means that if you have a value of 0, it will not be displaced. So right now this is on 0. So whatever value is 0 will not be displaced. Any value bigger than 1 will be being extruded pretty much. So I want to invert this, right? So whatever is the dark color should be the white color. So just flip them. There we go. And this one will get fully black. So now the whites will be extruded, right? So if I stop the render, I always like to stop it because I don't trust the displacement so well. It keeps crashing my scenes quite often if I mess around with displacements and have a live render cooking. The Arnold team is aware. They are trying to make this even more robust. So I'm working with them on the side, sending them scenes and whatnot to just get this ironed out. All right, so what is this? Madness, right? So this is now, you can see there's something happening, and it's obviously because my UVs are now double-sided. It will go on both sides, but we don't care for this right now. We just want to make sure that we actually do this properly. So the wireframe is totally messed up, and the reason is we are not adding any special things to our Arnold shapes. So in the subdivision tab, you can make sure that you have cat clock enabled. You can already see we got more subdivs now. Let's actually go larger here. Let's just do 200%. Full scene update. 50%. All right. So this is now 50%, and you can still see it's not nice. Are you German or from Germany? I am from Southern Africa, a country called Namibia, which is all the way to the south, right above South Africa. It was a German colony once, so that's, I guess, where you can catch my German accent probably. Anyway, so now by adding more iterations, you can now see we get exactly the shape of our little ramp here. Yeah, we totally need to fix the sides here. I just might need to assign a different shader which doesn't have the displacement on the back side, something like that. Right, so actually let's do this now before we get really crazy. So I'm just doing the lazy thing now, which is just assigning a different shader. Actually, how would I do this? I guess I'm just scaling it up. I'm not sure if how I can select just the. Yeah, this sucks. Let's just do this from the perspective. What I want to do now is just select the front-facing objects, but I don't know a nice way to do this without selecting the other side. Oh, I guess I can do this. I should be able to do this, and then I just do not select the background. There's a way to do that, I'm sure. To not select the back faces. How was that? Tool options, camera-based selection. I think that's it. Yep. So we just want to select the back faces. So nothing in the front, nothing on the sides. Well, a bit on the side, which is fine. Shift double clicking should give us the loop around. All right, so now this is all the back faces. So what I'm doing now, obviously it's a bit of a hack, but it should work. I'm just assigning a new standard surface shader, which is just the back side. So this does not have displacements essentially. So essentially what you can do, you just plug the same shader in the surface shader, because the shading engine is the one who assigns and not the shader. So we have the same shader, but a different displacement, right? So I think that should do it. Let's just make sure we actually see this. And I need to always save more often. All right, now you can see what happened. So we only displaced the front, but if I look at the texture, if I go to my shader, we should see the same on the back side. So that is great. Let me just read through. There's so many comments today. I love it. So 71 watching, 2 on Twitch. You can change the tool. Yeah, cut the UV. Yeah, I know I could do the UVs, but then my displacement would be distorted if I would do that. Displacement is fully procedural. Alrighty, let's keep going. All right, so obviously now the shape is not what we need it to be. So let's just first get rid of this guy. So now we have our displacement, which is driven by this singular map. So next up, let's just disable this. No displacement, and just work with our initial super large sphere here. So what I want to do, I want to have it maybe like be rounder from the top. So all we need to do, go into this ramp, make this larger. And what I'd like to do now, because this is a color ramp, it's hard to actually get the profile right. So there's also something called AI float ramp. Is it called float ramp? I think it's called ramp float, this guy. And then it's just, it outputs us a single float value. So I just want to do, I need to be faster, man. We just want to do all these things. It's called float to RGB. So we just plug in the out value here to this converter node, and then it just pretty much gives us a grayscale value, and then we can plug this into the pass-through node. So now by doing this, let me just hook it up. Obviously our thing is broken now, but we just need to redo it quickly. So we just go circular, and now we've got a lot nicer profile to work with, like this, right? So we just want to make sure the top is white, and then we go to the dark like this. And now we pretty much have the same effect. And you can see now from left to right, so this would be the core. And then we just, because you can see these bubbles, they are pretty rounded. So we can try to get like a round profile, and they are pretty cylindrical as well. And then this would be now, I think, the side view, the profile view of this. So they do extrude. Let's see if we can, this one is bloated. It's actually not, it maybe just doesn't do this as much. It's maybe a bit flatter and just in general. We could have played with the height. I think this is a good shape. And then you can also change the mode. I'm not sure, they don't seem to work. I think that is a bug still, that these don't really work, those options. Maybe this one, maybe spline seems to work. Let's just change this to spline. It's just a bit, like just smoothing it out a bit to get a softer displacement here. That's key. So spline. So now you can see it has a nice roundness to it. And this should be a cool profile. So let's just close this ramp. Yes, this everything what I do live is always uploaded right after the stream. All right, so now this and that. Let's just hook up the displacement here, and let's see what we get. All right, so now obviously what is wrong? This is wrong. All right, so now you can see that we have a lot nicer displacement. Obviously, again, too strong. So let's go into displacement and just go 0.1 and maybe go back to basic. And this is now what we have. It's still a bit chunky, so I'm not sure if this is an issue with Arnold, that we do not get these smooth transitions which we had. So maybe I need to report that as well. I was expecting that this should be softer. And we can also see those chunks, which are weird. So let's check the ramp if everything is in order. Maybe we have some value in here. Maybe just change this to linear. And you can now see, yeah, there was some kind of issue with the spline. And you can see how I tackled these problems, right? So now this is obviously not working because the spline interpolation just doesn't seem to be correct. So what I did now, I just reverted back to linear. And what we need to do now, obviously this is it sucks a bit, but you can do like a really smooth profile here, which is obviously a bit of a manual process. And it's a bit difficult to adjust once you get all these points in place, but at least it's something, right? And yeah, this might just do it. So let's see, maybe this one needs to go. And we just soften this. All right, let's see. Okay, it's a bit smoother, and I think at least you know what I'm trying to do here, and I think this should just show you at least the idea of how to set this up. And yeah, we might need to add more subdivs. Well, the subdivs will not add with the curves. No, I know. I think the curves didn't work properly. Anyway, so you can try it out. You have the scene file, so you can mess with this as well. So I'm just showing you at least the techniques here I'm using. All right, so now you can see we have way too much spacing in between. So let's see if we can actually fix this with this scale here. Maybe go 7.5 and 7.5. I think we still have too much offset in between. So to fix that, you need to move the whole curve to the sides. So right now we have so much white space. You can see it's just too much. So we need to adjust this profile, and that's now obviously the tedious part. So we should actually need to move this over to adjust the border. So you just need to find the sweet spot on how much you want this to extend, like the spacing in between. And I think this is it. So I just need to move them quickly. And you can see now, right now it's working fine to update the displacement. And we're actually just changing the displacement in real time, which is fairly impressive, I have to say. All right, so we can get rid of a few maybe. All right, so let's say this is what it is. Update full scene. 91 watching on YouTube and 3 on Twitch. Woohoo. All right, so now obviously this is what it is now, and I will not spend much more time on this just because I'm just showing the idea of how I set it up. So we've got this now. And next up, let's add this noise to it. So the next step would be to add some kind of just an overall larger noise. So I'm just creating an AI noise here. Come on, AI noise, and I'm just plugging this. Let's just stop the displacement. I'm just plugging this into my surface shader. I can use isolate selected as well. But I don't know, sometimes I just plug the outputs directly. It's just, I guess, how you want to do it. I'm not sure. We need to go to shader. So that's our noise pattern. Let's go 15. And we want this to look organic. So we need to add this distortion. And the distortion is essentially doing, like, it feels like it's tearing to one axis. So we can actually change our scale as well. So it's more in a direction, maybe 5. Yeah, so now it's stretched towards the top. We can do 25, maybe 12. This would be our overall noise as our displacement. And so now because we have our 0 map, all right, that's fine, I think. All right, so we have this one and we have the other one. So what I want to do now is adding them together using an AI add. It's just adding two values together, right? Nothing crazy. So I'm just picking the out from our dots and then the noise, and then I'm just previewing that. So now we have this, right? So obviously everything will be now pushed up, right? So let's just visualize this. Let's just stop it and hook it up. See what we get. We don't get anything because this needs to be connected. Boom. Right, so we get a distorted bubble wrap. So now we see that we have this oval distortion, which is cool already, and it's close already to the reference. So now let's try. So obviously if you feel this is too much, you can just reduce the add, right? Right now this is just adding this value, and you can just change the color too. So if this is on 0, we should not see anything again. So now you can just slightly dial it in until you're satisfied with this overall noise. And then you can add a finer noise to get more of these little things down here, like these broken up things. Oh wow, I just got a huge, like a big chunk of donation. I'm not sure, it's rupees, I guess. But thank you very much for this. Really appreciate it. I can't pronounce your name. Cami Ready. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate the help here. Thank you. All right, so next up, let's pretty much we just do the same thing, but instead of doing the stretching we just did, I'm just doing it less. And instead of adding it, we will be multiplying it to get these indentations inwards. So now I just do an AI multiply. So multiplication, obviously you guys know it's multiplying instead of adding two colors. So if I multiply a dark value, we will get it will go inside pretty much. So let's just hook these things up to let's just actually do this live. Let's see if we can do this without it crashing. So right now we have this, and let's just save before something happens and just hook this up into the displacement. And let's visualize the noise. This is what it is. And I want to have what I said. I just want to have a smaller noise pattern and maybe 2 levels of detail and maybe 25. And let's try some distortion like that. Right now we are multiplying. Right now we are multiplying 0 and 1. If you want to have inverted colors, so if you want to go inside, you can actually, I'm not sure if this is allowed in this node to have a negative value in here. If that's not the case, we can just offset it after. We can just do like an offset minus. So we can, let's actually do that. So before this, I just do, is there an offset level? Let me think. Is there, I guess there's not an offset, but there should be, we can just add subtract, right? So subtracting is essentially offsetting stuff. So I connect this, I have my color and I want to subtract a value from it. So it's 1 minus 2. So right now we have this noise produces range of values from 0 to 1. And let's say I want to subtract a value. Let's say I want to subtract 0.1. So what is 0 now will be negative 0.1. So now we actually added some values which actually displace downwards. Let's see if my logic is correct here. You never know, you never know. All right, so let's just save again and just hit render. Go to basic. And yeah, I think it is what happened. So we can now see that we have these things going inwards. And again, if you don't want this so strong, or if you want it strong, you can just push it. You can see now we're getting even further like bumps inside. I think it's now just too much, like in terms of scale. So let's just do maybe 50 and look at this. So now we have a lot smaller noise, and this is actually exactly what I wanted, just to create these indents. And obviously now we need to fine tune this. So we are multiplying this. And if this value goes closer to 1, then it's pretty much non-existent. So if this would be 1, this is our default shader, right? So we want now to control this, how much we want to multiply this together. So if this is my range now, so we can essentially just put in range in here, AI range. Let's see if this works. Let's just focus on this. And if I change the region now, no, we don't want to smooth step it. If I adjust this to go closer to 1, yeah, we can now see that we have less of this, right? And if we want stronger displacement overall, we can just push this back to 1. And now we essentially get this overall effect. Obviously, it's a bit too uniform, and I think my scale is a bit too small. Let's try 40 instead. Yeah, and I think this is now fairly close, at least in what I could produce now, because you see that I'm actually recreating this live, so I can't spend too much time on this. But anyways, for the shader, it's a bit more simple. So we just go to let's just hook up the shader for the first time actually, which is this guy. Hook it up to the surface shader and save it and go to shading. And this is now what it looks with the lighting environment. If I just zoom in on this little region here for now, we have, let's just boost the settings a bit. Let's just go 4111. Now we have a bit cleaner result. We can also enable progressive render. So it's gradually getting better. Actually, it's not so cool. Like this. And now essentially what we need to do is we just need to match the specular. And the specular for this, it seems to be very rough. It's not super like glass-like, right? So I'm just changing the roughness maybe 3.5, like that. So now we have something, and then we want to have it see-through. So what I'm doing next, if I would do this actually now, you should see, what do you see? Do I have transmission actually on? We do. Why is this so whack? Right up? No, that's good. Ooh, what is happening? That's a first. Oh, I know. I think I know. Is my color plug in here? No, it's not. We don't have base. That's super funky. Is that because it's thick? You see, now I'm struggling. What's happening? Thin walled? Oh, because my roughness, I guess. Why are we not seeing through this? I thought they use the same. Oh, because we have this on the back side? I thought it's using the same shader. Oh, I know. Huh. My bad. You see? There we go. I just had the old shader still connected in the other shading engine. All right, we good. All right, so I changed it to be thin film, which means it's actually not refracting, which is fine because we don't want it to be. Why is? See, we just went nuts. Doesn't matter. I just looked at my phone and she was talking. All right, so we've got this now. So bubble wrap, thin film off, you will actually get refractions, but we don't want refractions because it's actually very thin plastic pretty much. So we just make thin walled on. And let's actually now look through our render camera, which is this one, in terms of scale. And now what we want to do, we just want to play a bit with the transmission roughness. Right now we can actually see straight through it. And in the reference, it's super blurry behind it. So the trick is to obviously play with the roughness here. So if I bring this up to maybe 0.1, you can already see now that it's fairly close already to what we see in the reference. So just a value of 0.1, just a value of 0.1 will actually give us the result. But now what I'm seeing is that my specular is still way too crispy. And the problem is I cannot change it, because if I change it, my transmission roughness will change because they are linked. So my little hacky trick is to disable specular altogether from our specular tab. So it's only, the roughness now is only affecting the transmission. So in the code, I'm enabling it again. So we essentially recreating a second specular lobe, which is only responsible for the highlights essentially. Yeah, so now we can just boost this differently. So if I can do 0.5 on my code, and you can see now that we get a different result. Or I hope we can. Still looks a bit weird. Oh man, Shane, so crazy, man. Thanks for that huge donation. That's insane. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's crazy. I really appreciate it. I don't have words. Thanks. Right, so now by just changing the code differently from the specular, I have way more control artistically. Obviously, this is not physically correct anymore, but it does what it's supposed to, I think. And you can also play around with the depth. Why is that now disabled? Is that because of this? I'm not sure why my scattered depth is now disabled. Is it because of thin wall? Oh yeah, it's because of the thin wall, which is fine. It makes sense. So let's just render this and see what we get, and then yeah, let's just autosave. Makes sense. I had autosave enabled because so often I was just bummed out that my scene crashed, and then the restore file opened and it was just not nice. And I don't, you know the drill. Different softwares handle it a bit differently, but yeah, this is just the way you have to learn to work nowadays. Just save often, and yeah, this should be it. Right, so I think this here is good for the bubble wrap. And as you see, it's close. You can obviously spend way more time on getting the exact bumps and whatnot. But yeah, so this, I will upload all these scenes to my Patreon if you want to join that to get all the final scenes. You can just join that source files tier and you get all these shading networks, or you can just obviously recreate them. And the scenes to participate, you can get them on the Discord server. So the link is in the video description to follow. Okay, next up is this guy. And I had some issues with the pattern, but I think the pattern was like, it was tricky to get, but I liked how to get the color of each of the gum pieces, like make them more random, so it's not always the same color and all these funky things, right? Well, I do not participate in those challenges just because I'm hosting them, and it would just be unfair because I have way more time to play around and test things out and obviously do some research before I actually go into those challenges. That's why I guess I rather help you guys out to nail those challenges. All right, so bubblegum. So I have the scene. I went to Houdini. I am still quite noobish what it comes up to Houdini, but I was able to scatter pieces of cubes essentially and have them transform to the to itself. So it's using a vellum simulation, and I just scattered the shit out of the gum pieces. So yeah, that's what we have. Last sip of my OJ. And let's go. What I like to do first is what I want to do first is obviously is nailing the color. I like the color. I like these jitter stuff and random colors a lot. So that's why let's just do this first. So if I create a shader, standard surface shader, AI standard surface, and I assign this to the gum group, let's just call this MTL gum and render. Yeah, I know I could have done this in Bifrost too, but Bifrost changed, or it looks so different now with that new graph and whatnot, and I just didn't have the patience to jump into that. Yeah, it's just another tool and another tool, and I just thought I don't do this with Bifrost. Okay, so render settings quickly just to optimize stuff. 111. Come on, now I killed it. I did a 211 ray depth. Okay, 111, 111. Let's check our light, what is in the sky dome light for render settings. Control and A shortcut actually opens up the attribute editor all the time. So let's just do 3 samples here. Let's do 2048 resolution. The rest is good, and you can see already now it's so much more cleaner just by doing this with very low AA samples. And again, if you have any questions, always post them in the chat. I'm reading it. And yeah, let's just keep going. So random colors, right? So let me first move the camera upwards like this, so we see it. And let's make sure we have progressive on, so we get just faster updates. Okay, so let's just first of all start with a base color. What do we do? Does jitter have an input color? I think it does, right? Yeah, it does. So let's just hook this up to the surface shader first. Oops, disconnect them and hook this up. All right. Yeah, as I said, you can do all of these things in different software. Because I'm using Arnold nodes, you can do this in any software which supports Arnold, which is nice. So there's a shortcut, Alt S-click. So S-click gives you the colors for the reference images using PureRef. I'm trying to do these live sessions weekly on weekends if I have time, if my wife allows it. You know how it is, honestly. You know? No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I'm trying. It's not always possible, as you might know, but yeah. So RGB, we want 255 range. Let's just type. Oh, you can actually copy, but I'm not sure if you can paste them. Obviously, I don't think so. So 238, 135, 143. So this is my base color, right? You can do this in V-Ray. I'm pretty sure V-Ray has the same nodes or very similar nodes to do this in V-Ray too, but obviously I haven't had V-Ray open in a while, but yeah, I'm sure it's possible. All right, jitter color. So we want to jitter on face and on uniform ID, I hope. Gain max, that's not it. So uniform ID doesn't work with this guy. Face ID doesn't work either. Okay, we might need to find a different way. Object. Let's just first go here and make sure that, because they all have different settings. So object has different settings. Gain, yeah, that was it. So I was just used to fur, and fur needs to have this uniform IDs. All right, that's this. So now it's just a matter of changing the colors until you're satisfied, essentially. So we don't want to go above 1. We are already above 1, so we just want to gain. Oops, we just want to keep the gain, let's say on 1. So we don't go above 1. I think that's the key. So now we are at. We're still going above 1. Maybe just leave the gain for now. Let's just mess around with the saturation. Boost that to 0.2. So we now have way more saturated ones, and we can also reduce them by 0.1, negative 0.1 to have more desaturated pieces. And we can slightly increase the gain. Let's say 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Yeah, I think this essentially covers the look. Obviously, the gump is not UV'd. Is it not UV'd? I think they are UV'd. Yes, they are UV'd. Yeah, they have something for sure. Which makes it a bit easier for sure. But anyways, let's just focus on the pattern. And once we have the colors and the patterns right, we go to, the colors right, we go into the pattern. So right now we've got the base color. What I'm seeing now is still 2 things. One is there's these stretched things, like white stretch, as if there's some kind of coating, some powder on it or something. And then you get these finer noise dots everywhere, right? So these 2 things. we need to do first. Yeah, that's the thing. Like my videos are sometimes way too long, but because I'm just talking and trying to explain things in detail as possible. And while I'm doing all this, I'm also explaining, like always giving little tricks and shortcuts and workflows. So it's always packed with information, but you have to be patient and actually listen to what I'm saying. If you just skip through those videos, it's not always as helpful, because it might feel like there's lots of rambling going on, I guess. So let's move to UVs. We do the same trick as we did on the bubble wrap. Add some distortion, maybe 2, and then increase the scale in one axis. Not this one. It's always the other one. This one. And you can now see we have this the same pattern on all the gums, and we don't want that. So we want to mix it up somehow, and we can do this, I think, with time. You can see now different times changes the look. So how do we do this, right? How would you actually randomize a single shader based on different objects? It's essentially the same as we did with the jitter. So, but this time we will use, let me think, we can use color jitter essentially as well. Yeah, what the hell, we just use the color jitter. It's fine. We use this, and I just create an AI multiply, and I connect this, and then the out red is just a float value, goes to time. And I connected the multiply because right now we just have values ranging from 0 to 1, because this is, I'm just picking the red value from the color. So now if I go crazy on my multiply, and I just multiply this with whatever, 10, you should now see it's different per thing. If I do 15, it's different, right? So they are similar, but they are still not the same. Obviously the same IDs will get the same look, but I think this is good enough for what I want to show today. So we can push the detail up. We can reduce the distortion or increase the distortion. We can move the scales a bit. And if you control click and drag in those values, you can actually slide them to get a better representation. Yeah, randomize just time. Exactly, randomize the time. You can do an expression. No, you can't do an expression because it's linked to the object. So you need to get somehow the object ID in this. Anyway, so we have this. So this is essentially giving us a mask for the jitter. So what we can do, we just do a color correct like this. The output of this goes into the color correct, and the output of our noise goes into the mask of the color correct. This goes into our shader, and now we are back to square one, but with the benefit of we have generated this weird mask thing. So what we can do, we can just add, and now boom, done, right? So we just added a little bit of color to this, and I think we need to add more contrast to this. So I'm just using an AI range here, hitting Control S in the meantime, AI range. And I just want to add some contrast to this. So I'm just hooking these guys up. Contrast means just squashing the range essentially. So we want input min to increase and output min to decrease. Not so much. I think something like this. So this is already close. It's not perfect. I think we are missing a bit of details on the noise. So maybe try 6 octaves. And now you can see now we've got the breakup I wanted to have. I think that works. 2 viewers on Twitch, and we've got 81 on YouTube. So what the hell? We had more just now. No, I'm just kidding. All right. And the last thing, it might be like the quality, obviously, but I can see there are these little dark spots. So let's just do this and add them as well. It's the same idea. We just create a noise. We create a range. We hook them up. We create another color correct. We hook this up the same way as we did before. And we got a crash. We don't have a crash. Whew. It was lagging. I think my wallpaper just swapped, which is fine. All right, so, and this time we want to multiply. So we just multiply it with, I don't know, let's do this. Obviously it's not working yet, but we will make it work. Look at the noise, changes to UV. The scale goes to, let's try 20. Let's try 80. Let's try, yeah, 80 might be good. Let's try octaves 4. Let's look at the range, smooth step on, and now we want to, we want the blacks to be the whites. So we invert this. Actually, it looks like the same. Does that matter at all? Weird. Okay, let's just do this then. So we increase our input min until we see those fine little dots like that, right? We've got dots all over, and I think the scale might be fine. We can go a bit higher up, maybe 8. So we see these dots, right? So now if I look at my color correct, we see those dots on the gum. Right now, again, it's the same pattern. We could essentially just hook up the same little trick to the noise. So, sorry, to the time. So to get some variation. And then the color is now just black. We can do some color, some like multiply with some color itself. Something more reddish, maybe. Right, and I would say this is pretty close to the colors. And now comes the tricky part, the pattern. Smooth step is essentially just a smooth clamp curve to have values not go above 1. So if you don't have smooth step on and you adjust those ranges, you will get values smaller and larger than 1. And the smooth step is essentially a clamp, but it's a smooth clamp. It's not a linear clamp. There's like a, yeah, as I said, a little curve. All right, some sparkling water. Cheers. All right, next up is the pattern. And the pattern is tricky. I was struggling to get it right, and I hope I can actually do it in the stream now. So I was using a ramp. I was using a color ramp. And let's get our shading engine down here and hook the ramp up. Make sure the ramp is in UV space. Sorry, it is actually in U. Basically, it fits. It fits and it clamps in one, pretty much. Play. So our ramp, we want to have these patterns. So let me just crop these two. Crop these two guys. Right, it's like a V, an inverted V. Like essentially, there's like stacked V's and then opposite stacked V's, right? How can you use a plane only during Bubblegum shadows? Oh, this plane is a shadow matte shader, which creates the shadows. It's essentially like, it's like an occlusion thing when multiplying it on the backdrop. So that's just a shader I have on it. I think that was a question, yeah. Okay, ramp. So what do we want to do? We want to do something. Obviously, it's tricky, and I'll try to do this in the live stream. So let's do this. Obviously, we first want to get a strong line like this. So this is white, and then we want this, and we want this. So now it's a pretty much a white box with some fall off to the sides. I think that's I need to see if this was the way I did it. But anyways, let's work with this here. So now we want to we create an AI UV transform, and we connect this, right? Connect this. So now we have this in place, and what we can do now, we can rotate the UVs. So if I do this 45 degrees, we should get this angled, and we can scale it maybe 5. Oh, not 5, 0.1 and 0.1. So now we have more stripes, and you can see now already we get this diagonal somehow. So how would we get the other side? I think we can flip it somewhere. Flip V? No, flip U. Mirror U. mirror V. You see I'm also now just trying something until we get it. Also I was translating them, and at some point I got it to work. We can try mirror here, mirror here. Nothing seems to be changing. Repeat, offset, offset. Okay, so offset does this, which is already something. Yeah, as I said, like let's try minus. So you can see now that this is definitely challenging. 0.2, and we can repeat this twice, 5 times. We still, oh, actually now it seems, I have the scene, actually I've got the shader here, how I did it, but I didn't want to cheat. But I think I'm doing the same. So I'm mirroring it, and then I'm just using the translations. So let's just try it. Let's try mirror. It is mirrored already. And then I was using a translation. So at some point you see the center of the mirror. And once you get the center of the mirror, then you can just get this V pattern. And I'm not sure why it's not doing it. Well, first of all, let's make these guys wider. It's just too narrow here. Okay, bigger pieces. Okay. What did I say? First try 45, line and UV, and then after transform and mirror that. You rotate the translation of the frame. Let's disable this as well. All right, yeah, anyways, you can see now this is now a bit wasted time. And I'm not sure why this does not find it. Because it's not even moving it, which is weird. Let's try 45 again. We can also try to just try to do 2 of them and just offset them, which will also do the trick, I think. Let's try. I'm not sure why these things don't work, the stagger and whatnot. So essentially what you can do, you can Shift D this, and you can actually just Shift D this and rotate this minus 45 and add them, right? So you could do this as well. I think this is a bit hacky, but it should do the same, at least a similar thing. But the problem is we actually need to get it to work. So let's just see what I did here, just because I just don't want to bore you guys. So this is random value. I've got my ramp looking like this. And then I'm transforming this. The weird thing is I'm repeating it here and rotating it there. Yeah, okay, I think that was the thing. The problem was, yeah, I can also try not to have the thing there. I get it. So rotate, not rotate the frame, but rotate the UVs. I think that was a problem, and I think that's what someone mentioned in the chat. There we go. So now we have something. Sorry for that. I was just freaking out. All right, so now we've got this pattern. I still need to see what we need to do to get it to look right. And now we have the scale. Okay, and then this one should give us more like this. And then you can see now this is just, we see these patterns too, actually, these cross hatches here, like here, right? And obviously you just need to do like different kind of patterns, and then you just blend them together. So you have this one for one UV, for instance, and then you mask out another one and you get another transform, right? So if I hook this up now, we have this again. Let's just focus on this single one here. And then let's revert this and do this. Make them smaller. leave the translation alone. So now you get a different pattern, right? And all of these things, they are actually, you can see them in the gum. So I'm not actually sure how or what they did essentially, like when they stamped these gum pieces, right? Because you get all these funky patterns all over the place. So now you have this pattern, right? So you can go pretty crazy with all these options. You can stagger them, and this is actually what I had before, which wasn't working. So now we've got more like a cube here. And just by, again, as I said, just by playing with those values, you get essentially the look you need. So now we have this pattern. We can repeat this even more. So let's go maybe 15. Why didn't this work? 15. There we go. And do this. So once you have this now in place, you can then multiply a line on top. This is ARNOLD, yes. So to interfere, like to block them, essentially we create another ramp, hook it up, and this time the ramp needs to be a U ramp, like that, and then you flip the colors. You can either invert them, or I can just, yeah, let's just do this. So if I do an AI UV transform here, and had this, and I do a multiply, I just want to show you a few techniques. I will not finish off this tutorial, like I will not do the final result, I think, unless I can get this to work right now. Okay, so now you can see we only have it here, and now we just want to obviously adjust it. So we can do, obviously this is now eyeballing it, and you need to be very specific to get this to work. Go 5 here. So now we have 5 pieces cut up open, right? So now we just do a subtract. So if you do a 1 minus a value, it's essentially inverting this. So we just do, sorry, the value minus 1. This is an invert. Unless I was talking crap. Got the value minus 1. Oh, is it 1 minus the value, right? Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's 1 minus the value. Should give us the inverse. Well, you can go to substance. Obviously you can. It's maybe easier to do because it's more visual than what I'm doing here. But I think it does help to understand what I'm doing, right? It does help to understand the basics, I think. At least the principles of all these math nodes and the principles of like how to stack things and all this jazz, right? Right, so if you need to make this larger, you can do this to get the look and feel right. Making this even wider, like this. So now you can see with this UV transform, now I'm multiplying them together, and now I can actually offset them and get like a broken up thing. And you need to match this maybe a bit better, but essentially now you have this pattern, right? I think ARNOLD has a triplanner. AI triplanner. But I'm always not 100% sure how to apply this. But anyways, so now we have this pattern and we have the other pattern, and then you can obviously, based on the ID, you can blend them. So let me just show you the blending quickly. Let's actually zoom this guy out. So Control-Shift-C, make this smaller. So how do you blend different kind of materials, right? So you need to, I think I had a compare in the previous one. So what this is doing, oh wow, what the hell did I do? So I was checking if the value is larger than another value, and then I was swapping UVs. That's crazy. I forgot already what I did here. Masterpiece. I would do it a different way though. AI random. Let's see what we get with the AI random node. We want, why does this not work? Input. Why does this not work? How did I do it? Color, great. Oh, I'm just inputting the utility here. I see. Essentially, we don't need that then. We can use a jitter again. Jitter color, hook it up. Boom, we have a, let's do a 50, let's do a 0 here. And we do a gain of 1. This should actually be on object, so we need to do this again, gain on 1. Different colors, so now we have a range. Love your IOR app. Oh, my app, yeah, dude. My Surface app on the iOS App Store. Man, I need to update it. Super dated already. 94 people, I like it. Keep sharing the video and ask your friends, hey, watch it, share it, like it. Oh, actually, did you guys like it already? I didn't actually look. How much likes we have? 46, that's not enough. We need to get more likes here, guys. Everyone, click it now. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. All right, so we've got this, and now we want to, actually we want to get int values, integer values, right? So, oh, actually, I don't know if there's a floor math. Is there a math? A math function? A max? No, what? We don't have floor. How can we get random values? Random ints. Thought this would do it. Well, if we don't, we can just, I guess we can just multiply it again. Let's see if this works. I multiply this. Multiply this with a big value. Let's try 5. Or let's try 100 actually. So now we should have lots of ints. Smash that, yeah, smash that. That's what it is. So now we want to mix different things based on those numbers, I think. How did I do it? We don't even need 100, I think. 10 should be fine. So you can switch them. I think there's a switch. Switch? AI switch? Is that my node? No. So what does this node do? You provide an index and you have a different output. Is that what we need? Let's try it. Hook this up. Our index is 0 right now. So let's just plug this add to input 0 and the multiply to input 1. All right, input 0, input 1. Switch it, switch to switch. Switch to switch. So switching is switching it. So this is now, how do we do it though? Random int between a range from 0. Obviously you can do it super easy in VEX code. I'm always struggling here. So we have this multiply. Obviously if I connect this, we don't have those ints, right? So if I do this to the switch, or to the index, show all first. Show all. Output. Where's the index? Doesn't have an input? There it is. So it did something, right? So it did something. It's not what I was expecting. I'm just reducing the values here, the multiply. And the thing is, because this is actually outputting a range, like a float value, it's outputting a float, but I think the switch just checks if the value is above 1, or like it checks for integers. So if the value is like 0.5 or 0.6 or 0.7, it will be a 0. If it's 1.1 or 1.8 or whatever, it's a 1. So that's, I think, why it does work actually. So obviously it's not perfect. You would need to do more variations here, like different kind of shaders, plug that into the switch and populate the switch with that. But I'm just showing you these two basics now. So this was a lot of talk for just this freaking pattern and look. So let's do a, didn't I have a, yeah, this is it, right? Yeah. So now we need to get the feel of this working. So currently we have nothing. Let's just connect this to our scatter color. Zoom in here and disable diffuse. Increase the roughness, something more dryish looking like this. We can even go a bit further like that maybe. Go to the subsurface, bring up the weight. Radius is like this pinkish color as well. Random walk 2, all the fancy new stuff, and then 0.01 for the scatter should give us something. Let me check the questions quickly. if I had a mentor, no, I did not have a mentor for Arnold. Actually, never had a mentor. I had school a long time ago, but it was really crappy. Like I didn't learn much, honestly. Okay, it's still cooking. I meant not school. I went to like a 3D thing, but I don't know. Never mind. We don't need to talk about that. Yeah, I really like to have Vex as well. I think Bifrost has this coding thing now, but it's not the same. I agree that Vex would be great. Yeah, so this is now the color. It's still too creamy looking, so we can just push the saturation here from our base color. So we can push the base saturation. This will affect everything. Not so much. That's better. I think this works. And now I'm just using this as a bump now. So I think in my final render, I use this as a displacement, but you can just use this pattern as a bump as well. I think it should be fine. Where's our out switch? Output the red value or the luminance value from our little pattern generation, and this goes into our normal camera now. And let's see if we go to normal. Nothing. Boosted. Boosted. Nothing. Why not? Shading. I was hoping we should see something here. Maybe that's why I did use... yeah, it looks like bacon, honestly. You're right. Maybe I need to use it as a displacement because I can't see anything on it. Why is that? Why is that we're not doing what it's supposed to? Any ideas? This is black. Why is this black? Kidding me? I thought it was working just fine before. Now it's working. Man, auto refresh. You know this. See, if you cannot trust your render output, right? What the hell? Maybe I was talking too soon. Still don't see it. So trick is, oh no, I do see something. It's just very, very, very subtle. So a trick, I just disable scatter first and then I'll just push it. That's super funky. I think this is easy to do in Houdini as well. Yeah, totally. Shouldn't be a big issue. All right, so instead of using bump, I guess that's why I did it in the first place. I just use a displacement. So displacement shader, disable the shading group, output red, go to displacement, hook it up, and 0 values on 0. We are outputting 0 to 1. Let's actually do a clamp here, just to be sure to don't go with too crazy values. So the switch goes to a clamp, and then we go to displacement like that. Play. Boom. What the hell? It looks funky. All right, so obviously we need to work on our gum pieces. So now we have tons of gum, right? Did I do it manually? I don't think so. Unless I did the script. No, I didn't. All right, so now how would you do this, right? You can use selection sets. I'm lazy, I don't like selection sets, right? So, new thing, or semi-new, there is an operator. I actually have something connected in here. So let's just break this. Break the operator. Is that not updating now? Okay, we create a new operator, AI set parameter operator. And that's something which just runs before the render starts. So how Arnold works, it's Maya scene with its objects and whatnot. And then there's an M2A translator, which translates Maya to Arnold, which is M2A essentially. And in that process, it creates an AS file, Arnold scene description. And this operator actually works on the AS file. And yeah, and the weird thing is, like a little Easter egg, Arnold has the render engine from Arnold is called kick. So if you combine a sentence with that, you can say kick ass, kick the ass file. Funky, all right? Little joke. Right, so we want to operate on everything. I'm just being silly now, but we just operate on everything it finds, and we can go to add assignment polymesh. We can do sub D iterations. We can do sub D type. We can do UV smoothing off. So linear UV smoothing, subdiv type, cut Clark. Let's do 2 subdivs. Kick ass. That's what it is. Kick.ass. Yeah. All right. So play. And now you can see it already subdivided. So if I go to wireframe now, we have this distance of a geo. If I go to my operator again, focus parameter, we go maybe 4. It's a lot denser now, right? It's really dense, which is good. We want it. Go to render settings, go to attribute editor of the displacement, and reduce our displacement scale by 0.05. Okay, maybe it's a bit too much on the wireframe, but we should have something now. Let's just go to the operator. Yeah, now you can see there's something. At least you can see the pattern now, finally. So if I go back to the shader and I go back to scatter on, boom, we have something. Increase the roughness 0.4. I think I need to invert it, but I don't do it now. This is at least something, and I recreated this, or I tried to recreate the gum. Sorry, I have my little office here, and I had to close the door because I'm talking so loud, and yeah, not everyone here wants to listen to me talking. So yeah, it's a bit warm in here. That's why I'm a bit sweaty. All right, render is finishing up, or at least some of the buckets are. As I said, the pattern just needs to be inverted. So yeah, we've got gum bricks now, but yeah, something, obviously spend more time on the pattern. So now comes a really fun thing, which is the orange. And the orange, honestly, I was struggling mainly to get the mold. Like this organic pattern, like, oh man, I was struggling to get this nice, it's like almost a Wall-E pattern with some noise multiplied. Yeah, I was struggling to get it. Like my initial idea was first do the orange, easy. Do the mold, the white transition mold here, semi-easy, and then this thing was killing me. Yeah, so let's just tackle the orange first. I think that is the healthy orange. Skin procedurally, yeah, skin procedurally is a bit tricky just because skin is not a single texture, right? There's so many things in the skin, which it's difficult. So do we have a shader? No shader. All right, so let's start off quickly. So standard surface shader, boom. Orange selected, assign to selection. We can call this our little orange, MTL orange. Let me know if you have any more questions, right? Yeah, Voronoi might be as well. So there's lots of options, and I tried quite a few of them, honestly, to get them right. So first of all, let's check if you liked the video. Yeah, we've got 70 likes already. That's great. So 80 viewers, 70 likes. That's pretty good. So thank you guys for all your thumbs ups, or whatever. All right. Size of pure ref, you can hold Alt and Control. Honestly, if you hit Control U, you get this interface, settings, go to key bindings, and look at them. There's good stuff in here, very good stuff. Anyways, so orange first. So again, we will start with, as first of all, starting the render, making sure we are on progressive, make sure render settings are not crazy. Render settings 1, that's good. Then light settings 3, 2048. Save. This orange, yeah, it's a fun one. Yeah, man, pure ref, best thing which happened to me, honestly. It's really, really, really great. All right, so orange. So what do? We start off with a base color, and then we add a mask to get these lighter orange spots. I'm first talking about albedo, right? So orange, maybe a little gradient, vertical gradient, and then we've got these brighter patches, right? All right, first of all, let's do a gradient. So we do a ramp, AI ramp RGB. I hope I have UVs. I hope I have good UVs. If not, we can do it on P, but let's see. So what do we have? Yes, we've got good UVs. So we want this to be, let's say we just make this proper orange. So S and click, we get a color picker. Make sure it's on, well, I'm using ACES here, so I have my mixing space on utility sRGB texture, which means I can just, whatever I see here, I can enter 241 108 52. So this color should be the color I picked here. And then the top, let's just pick something else, S and click. And the other one is, how long have I been talking? Can I actually see my time? One hour 20. Is that accurate? That's not too long. That's good. All right. So the next color is 244 108 and 53. Okay. We obviously need to adjust them. So I want the bottom one to be darker and maybe more saturated. And we want the top to be slightly lighter and maybe a bit more towards the orange yellow, like that. Okay, so we have a vertical gradient. Did you transform all HDRIs to A? No, you don't need to really do that. You don't need to transform your HDRIs. You just need to make sure you're picking the right role, right? So this, for instance, is actually the wrong role, but I didn't bother much. So this should be not ACES CG. This needs to be utility linear sRGB. This would be, even though I did not convert the HDRI manually, I can swap them in here, which is actually the same thing as converting them. It's just converting them on the fly per se. And then you need to do a TX manager, delete the TX file, create the TX file. So now we have the proper TX file. So this would be now in the correct space for ACES. We should just get a little bit more saturation, a little bit less, I think, saturation in the HDRIs. All right, so now let's do these little spots, and essentially it's just a noise, right? So we just do a noise, same thing. Like once you get the habit, you just know how to do it. You just create a color correct, you create a noise, and this is the mask, and essentially we need a range here as well. Hook up the range, the output goes to my mask, and this goes to my output. So now we have this. We can now do add a little bit color to this. Hit play. There we go. Change the scale. We want maybe 25. Way too small. Let's do maybe 15. Is there a way to mask by CPV in Arnold? What is CPV? I'm not sure what CPV is. 5. So this could work. So now let's do the range, and now let's just clamp them so we get more of these spots. Like that. I think this at least it's correct for scale. And now, because now you have spots everywhere, right? And I don't want spots to be everywhere. So what I want to do next is create another noise, which will be broader, and I want to multiply them together. So we have like this broader noise is actually masking the smaller one. So let's just visualize this. So this is what we have, and I want to maybe try 5, and we might need a range. Always ranges. I'm not sure why the range is just not built into the shader. I requested that with the team, but I don't know. They don't like my requests. All right, so this is now, you can see what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to mask these things off. If I look at this now, you can see we have these bigger patches. And if I look at the result now, we don't have it everywhere. I'm a bit too large, too small, and the pattern. So now you can see we only have a bit of color there, a bit of color there. And based on your ranges, you can fade them slowly in. You can adjust you can offset them, or whatever you need to do, right? So we can actually try more distortion to have more organic feel to it. Oh, per vertex. You can paint. I actually never tried it. I think you can paint onto this. No, you can't use vertex paint. I know you can do an XGen, but this is like essentially generating a texture as far as I know. I'm not sure if you can do vertex painting in Maya. I'm sure you can. I just don't know how, I guess. That's what I want to say. And then you could just read it in. Yes, you can use an AI user attribute and just read in the value. Right, so this mask I'm adding, so I want to add a orange color. I want it to be less saturated and less strong. Something like this. Procedural look dev like this. Obviously we try to have the fastest renders ever possible, so we mostly try to bake everything down to textures just because of efficiency. And but it does happen. Like on my previous show I worked on, I was doing a procedural shading network which was randomizing quite a lot of things. I can't talk about specifics for sure, but I did a procedural shading network which was very powerful to get lots of different unique pieces of objects, and it worked pretty well, and render times wasn't too bad, honestly. So now we've got this connected. I just added a noise to get these nicer pings here. Okay, yeah, cool. I think I will do a new tutorial about vertex painting then, because it's very helpful if you quickly want to paint on the object. I will give this a go for sure. Thank you for that. Yeah, XCXDSCom. Sorry, I couldn't pronounce your name there. All right, so connect this to our color, subsurface color, and this to the shader. Now we have this. Now we don't want diffuse. We don't want roughness for now. We definitely need to subdivide the orange first. Go to this subdivision, cut Clark. Let's just try 2 because we can. Thanks. And yeah, obviously, I think most of you guys are subscribed anyways, so I don't need to say it, but I will say it anyways. If you are not subscribed to this, it would be great, because I'll keep doing this regularly, and it would be great to have you as a subscriber to my channel. Bringing up the scatter, changing to random walk 2. Color is something yellowish because oranges have no blood. They are not red. They have some kind. It's mostly like a, I don't know, almost see-through, I guess. And the scale maybe 0.01. 0.01. Did it update? I'm not sure. Update. That's all right. Okay, so this would be our base color. I think it's too light. We need more saturation. And obviously it does not match because our roughness is all over, 0.4. Now it feels like a waxy thing. We need some bump. So I created the bump already. It's connected already. So let's just look at our bump map, hit save first, and now go to the scale, maybe try 10. We can do, yeah, let's do 10 with some distortion. And next up would be octaves. 2. No, keep it at 2. Yeah, 2. So now we have broader displays, broader bumps. And we just need to push them stronger. The default is 0.01. Let's try 0.1 as a bump. It's still too waxy in my opinion, so let's just first work on the color. So base color, let's just make this a little bit darker here. A bit darker, more saturated, and the top also darker. Okay, so now we have this broad bump, a bit too strong, I guess. Like this, still a bit too strong. 0.2. I think this works. Obviously, roughness is not good. Let's try let's actually keep it. It might be good. So next up is a fine bump. So what I want to do here is create this. So I created now intentionally try to get these bigger holes. And now we do the finer holes and we are stacking those bump maps. So Shift-D here, Shift-D here. You can actually duplicate network and you don't need, then it keeps the connections. So the out value of this goes into the normal of our previous normal map. So now we're actually stacking 2 outputs, which is great. So this one should be our fine one. So we push this maybe to 25. Less distortion, more detail, add a range, and hook it up, and like this. Actually, how is everyone holding up with the current state in the world we have? I guess most of you guys are working from home, I guess. Is there anything you guys do to keep sane? Like, as you can see, I'm just, I don't know, I'm just creating tutorials and doing stuff, but man, if I couldn't do this, I would, I think, go crazy. This is not updating. Do a full refresh. If I use the bump as a roughness, that's not how it physically works. Objects do not have different roughnesses, essentially. It's just the surface is breaking up. That's why it looks rough or clearer, but essentially the roughness is not changing. It's one constant. Yeah. All right, so now I'm trying to get these little finer dots here. And we need a lot more. So let's go maybe 150. Okay, range, that's better, right? All right, so now it's stacked. Let's see what we get. And this, let's first disable this map. And actually, let's disable the scatter. It's hard to see anything with this noise. All right, so that's the bump. Way too strong. Let's do this. I think my value, this clamp is not helping. Let's just try to reduce this. Okay, that's better. So this needs to actually be negative because we want him to go inside. There we go. Now we've got negative, but like little pimples everywhere. And I wasn't sure why this didn't work. There, now it's working. See, I just want to have like this kind of feel to it. So there's some flat, but then others go inside. And now let's just stack them again. Bring this guy back up. All right, that's what I'm talking about. So now we have this overall weirdness and then these finer details. And I think this is, it feels very good, honestly. Like, I think this is a good representation of an orange. Learning Python, that's a great one. And Katana is also a great one. Houdini, yeah, I'm playing with Houdini too. Yeah, well, Houdini is insane. Yeah. No, I'm pretty. I pretty like this not lockdown, but I like working from home. It's pretty cool. Right. So this would be the orange. So now let's bring back the color. We're near this section here. Check out the scatter. Bring this back. Yeah, I just don't feel it yet. It does not feel like the orange. So let's just do a color correct. Sorry, this takes a bit longer just to nailing the orange, and you can see now like, oh, this challenge was tricky, man. All right, let's try to boost the saturation. Too much, 0.1, that's better. Yeah, this can work. Learning M is pain, that's funny. Quick question, yeah. I would say, at least now, if you use ARNOLD, it's a bit tricky. The GPU is good, but it's not like, if you have a good CPU, I would still say go for the CPU. It's still a bit more performant, at least today. But I'm pretty sure that it will catch up. And if you use like different render engines, their GPU implementation is a bit better. So it depends what you want to do here, right? If you, for look dev, the GPU is fine, but I think it still has some issues with the final render. But yeah. So now I'm just reducing the roughness, and you can see by adding the bump, we actually got a way more broken up surface, right? Yeah, I agree. It's not there just yet. Okay, so let's say we love this orange. I still not 100% happy. We just have too much breakup, but it doesn't matter now. Next up would be to get this pattern. This let's just move this here to get this mask essentially, right? All right, so this is the orange shader, right? And now let's create a ramp. Can we do it with a ramp? Yeah, let's try ramp. Ramp RGB, and this goes here. And then we do this mask, like from here to here. From here to here. So one thing which I was missing, this does not have any noises. So if you use the Maya ramp texture, obviously this is now cheating because it's not an ARNOLD node, but this luckily has noise, and I think I was using this. You can use this though, but you can also use a PREF and a mask and a range to do this. Where is it? Noise here. You can see just doing this. Oh, it actually messes up the UVs. Maybe it's not the best idea ever. Okay, let's just ignore this. Let's just do it the way I was saying. So you can use a AI state vector, and you can connect P, and it needs to be converted to a AI range, I hope. Yes. So now we have red, green, and blue. Green has values from essentially 0 going up all the way to 50. Oh wow, the orange is huge, I think. It doesn't matter though. So if I do a smooth step now, we should be able to see something. State vector, is that P? Does it need to be PO? Ah, it needs to be PO. All right, so now you can see we have essentially the same RAM, but this is in world space. So what I can do now, I can plug in a noise to the inputs to create this weird pattern thing, right? So let me try to do this. So AI noise, man, I do so many noises every time. Should have a shortcut to create them. This plugs into input min. Come on, don't crash. There we go. And you can see we have it already just by plugging it in. Luckily, I didn't have to adjust it, but you can for sure just change those values to get it to the right place where you need it to be. You can see there's lots of fine details, so we want to increase the octaves here. Why does it do it here? And because it's going from 0 to 1, we need to clamp it to not go from 0 to 1. Because we're changing input min, we want the input min. So we need to create a range from here to here, and then the output goes to input min. And we want to limit or refit the range. So it goes actually from, let's try 0.5 to 0.7. There we go. So now we don't have the bottom part and we have the detail here. I do have a Xeon Gold 6148 processor. I think that's what I have. All right, so we have this pattern, and now if we want to push the noise, we should be able to stretch it or reduce it, whatever we need to do. Let's try 12. More detail. Not sure why the range is not helping us much. Okay. I think this might work. So now we have this fade here, and this can be our mask, and this would be masking one shader to the other shader, right? So it's tricky. All right, so if I do a mix, let's just create actually the mix setup. So I'm mixing a shader 1, and then I'm doing another mix, and this connects to here. Okay, so our base shader is the orange. That's 1. I keep confusing this. I think 1 is 0. Yes, it is. All right, so now we have our base shader, and I want to mix the mold on top. So I'm just creating another surface shader. And this one hooks up to shader 2. And the mix is driven by what we did right now. And this, why is this not mixing it? Refresh. Why is this not mixing it? Oh, because this needs to be here. Still not mixing it. Why is that? Mix is here. What is the value here? Green. Oh, I need to have green. There we go. All right, so we have this mix, and the top part should be the green shader. So let's color correct this, make this smaller, and at least just for now, just make something cyan, pinkish, greenish, bluish, darker, moldy, roughness, something like that. Right, so the top part, and then the last mix would be the same range, but then we just want to have this white strip around it, right? So we create another shader, which will be the white mold, which would go in number 2, and we would need to adjust this mix still. But I just need to, what I need to do essentially is just do another range, which uses this and multiplies it. So I just need to update this if I duplicate this, Shift D, and I connect the same values, input min, and this goes to the input, and I just connect this to the surface shader, look at the green channel. What I want to do now is just have it moved up, essentially. So all we have to do for this to move up, and we need to invert it as well. So if I do 1 and 0, we have the black on the top. If I look at the other one, I think maybe this is already all we have to do. And now I just do an AI multiply. I hope this is not too complicated, actually, because the thing is, once you know how to do it, or once you understand it for yourself, it sounds straightforward and easy. But I'm not sure if you guys, if you see this for the first time, is that like, what the hell is he doing? That's super complicated. Or are you saying, oh yeah, that's easy. Hey Julius, how's it going? I heard you like head of department now. Congrats, man. Really great job. Yeah, so that was a buddy of mine. We worked together in Munich a long time ago. And I just said hello. Right, so we have this. So you can see now we are essentially affecting the top gradient. I'm not sure why we don't have the noise there, but it does not matter now. I don't want to deal with it. Actually, I do want to deal with it, so let's just try to fix it. Oh, it's driven from that mask. Yeah, you can see it's slowly fading off. But anyways, let's just leave it at that. And then if I hook this back up, we should see now, we should see something, hopefully. All channels. No, we don't. Why don't we see it? Because we need to use this output here as my mix. And we might need to look at this again. I did the same mistake. It needs to be green. All right, so now we have it. Like, at least this is now the base setup, right? So we have orange, white, and the green. Obviously, it needs, everything needs some adjustment. So I can create a range in here to adjust the fade, essentially. So if I do this, green goes here, smooth step on, and I clamp this, like make it a bit smaller, output less. So now it's fading off more. Yeah, I figured this might be a bit too tricky. But anyway, so now you have this, and we might need to clean it up. You can see now it gets messy fairly quick. But essentially now all we need to do is we need to multiply some little dots in here to get the same effect we had before. So this is my dust here. So if I just do a AI noise, AI range, the same deal as before, you can see now it's very repetitive because you need always the same things to happen. AI multiply, if I can type it. Yeah, we need to go to the bar there, the, what was it called? Stiegel or something, I'm not sure. Right opposite of the office. Anyway, so range to multiply, range here, out color. We want to connect this to the mix. Again, the green. Always the green this time, it's important. I could just convert it, but anyways. So we have this noise. We want to make it super small. So let's go maybe, what did we do? 150 before. I could reuse the previous thing actually. I didn't think of this before. And let's just multiply it. So we get these little dots in there. So let's see what this looks like. We have the pattern now, so we can range it better. So reduce this, get more contrast. All right, so now we have this dotted pattern. Next up is the mold, and I like the mold to be actually a bit displaced based off the mask. That's actually, the range is not great yet. Add more detail maybe. All right, let's try 3 here. So we got a bit more detail. I think it's without clamping too much. Yeah, I think this is just a bit better. And then overall, you can apply the same bump, and we should do that. Where's our original shader here? I just want to at least assign the same bump to the mold shader. Which one is it? This guy here. This should go into normal. Where is it? Code normal. Am I blind? Not sure why I didn't see the normal camera. Let's try again. This guy goes to here. So now we have the same kind of bump. Looks a bit better. Let me just catch up on the comments here. Yeah, naming the nodes definitely helps. I normally do that actually. Yes, textures are way faster. So it's always good to bake down your networks. What else? Well, the math I'm doing here is not really like, it's just adding, right? It's just simple math. It's nothing crazy. I'm not doing any vector math or like more complicated things, I think. All right, so I don't know. Let's try to tackle the top part here, and then you can see and then I will show you the results as well. Where's our mix shader, which I'm looking for? I guess it's this one here. Yeah. All right, so let's just move this one all the way down here. And now let's try something. I'm not sure. There's like a cell noise pattern, which can work. It's a bit tricky though. Let's just do this. And move this to Worley, I think. And scale it up. Right, this is not exactly what I'm trying to do, but it's something, and I try to use a different noise. Like you can use them to use this out value here to control the P, the position. Let's just make this a vector position and increase the distortion. You can now see we get a more distorted map. This is actually a pretty neat trick, which not a lot of people know, is you can actually add distortion to your shaders by connecting stuff to the P values. Well, the easiest way to back down, you go to the menu and you just say render selection to texture. That's all you have to do. Let's look at this. Let's try something. I'm locking the nodes, so now I can work on the noise and see the result of the cell noise, and I can just add more detail. So you can see it is something organic. It's actually better than what I had before, to be honest. I should have done this before. And if I change the scales, maybe reduce the distortion. Yeah, you see, it's tricky. It does something cool, but it's a bit funky. And you can see I'm just wildly just sliding those values, right? The advantages, depending, obviously nowadays it's hard to say if there's an advantage. Like, I think working in Substance Designer or Painter is really beneficial. You see, it's like a visual programming almost, right? You just plug in those nodes, you get your results, and you bake out textures. So I think that is a huge deal, and it's great that we have this option to work in Substance. And obviously, if you work in a different package, you want to see quick results. At least in testing, I would say it's I don't know, it's way faster or way easier to iterate if you do it in your platform, right? Obviously, it would be great if there was a support directly to render from a software like Substance, but you still want to have your whole production pipeline, right? So I'm just talking for pipelines now. It's I don't know, It's hard to say, to be honest. Like, I think it's great to have the option to do it fast in real time, like in a little software like this here. But the best way would be to bake it down, I guess. And procedurally is more satisfying. I agree. It's more fun. Or it's not. Well, never. It's not more fun. It's the same. It's the same fun, but it's. Yeah, I don't know. That's hard to say. I think it's great. So disconnecting, and maybe we still have the color. Here we do have the color. You can see now it's very sharp, and I would love to have some kind of. We can actually try to do this to soften it, but there's like exponent. What was it called? Exponent. Let's see what this does. If I do an exponent on this, we should get a crash, pretty much. I bet it's a crash. Is it a crash? No, nothing happened. Woo! Let me save. Okay, so AI exponent. Where is the exponent in here? I thought there was a way to exponent. I'm surprised that it's. I'm looking for something to change the order, pretty much. I thought it was exponent, but exponent seems to just have. Wait, what did I just see here? Is that new? SE expression? That is new. That is cool. XGen. Dang it, they've got SE expressions? No way. I guess it's not supported with ARNOLD though. I don't want to crash it. I will try this. If this is XE expressions, it's a pretty cool. It's close to Vex, but it's on the shading side, so you can do lots of nice shading operations in here. Anyways, so let's just do some noise for the color. And again, let me know if you have any questions. We are slowly fading out of the stream just because my voice is breaking up slowly but surely, and I still want to show you the final results. So at least the finalists from the Discord channel. So let's check that out as well. Let's do this. Okay, this is our noise. Let's go maybe like 5-ish. Yeah, this might do it. And then we need to work on the roughness, 0.6. And the bump is too strong, I would say. Please do these more. Yeah, as I said, like all of this, as I said, it's just a live stream. It's obviously now I don't want to bore you guys in trying things out. But essentially this was the approach I did for this. And if you have more time on it, you can definitely do it a lot nicer. So let me bring up Discord. Which is here. And then we go to finalists. So Anthony did win the Bubblewrap, which looks like this. I think he did a great job in just randomizing the scales of all these different patterns. And yeah, you could have maybe, yeah, no, it's actually pretty cool. The roughness is nice. So this is what he did for the Bubblewrap. Then we have the gum finalist, which is Juan Ortega. Where is this post? Let's see. Didn't we post it here? Oh, we didn't. So this is the finalist winner for the Bubblegum, and I think that's pretty cool. Like the patterns look very close to what it is. The color variation is nice. The little dots here is nice. The stretchiness is nice. So he did pretty much everything I did, but a lot better, I think. So yeah, definitely a clear winner. We had lots of other entries though, like it's pretty cool. And orange was a tricky one. So this was, we were struggling quite a lot. Like I think I have did I post mine? I think I did somewhere in the posts here. Oh, let's just move up all the way. Yeah. So this is what my result was when I actually posted it for the challenge. And I think this looks nicer, the pattern on the top here. It's a bit more organic than what I had here now on the live stream. But yeah, and you can see now lots of people are working on this, trying different things. And then these are the finalists. So we have this one here, and they're all good. But I think one did stand out, and which is the winner. Let's see. I just moved down here, which is Fabi with this post here. Yeah, it's the same post. Let's just do this. Which is this. So you can see it's nice. What I like is the breakup. I think you could spend more time on the orange feel. But I like the mold, and I like let's actually bring up the reference here. And I like the breakup of this white furry mold or whatever. So I think overall this is a pretty close result, and I think it works out pretty well. Yeah, so be sure to join, and we actually got quite a few people joining from the live stream, I guess. So be sure to join us here. We have actually a team challenge, which is slowly but surely wrapping. We're just waiting for the last texture entries to come up. We are working on this, recreating this. So we have all the models already in place, and we are just now getting the textures. And let's see if I have my thing here where I brought all the ones in together. Yeah, so this is what we have right now, all the models. And yeah, I'm thinking of new challenges. We might have more than one at the same time. I need a few more admins to help me out on this, because there's like this channel, the server here is growing so crazy fast. It's insane. Let's see, we have server settings, members. We've got now 1,300 members, and it's incredible. Like, I'm really like amazed by how quick this community grew. And the cool thing is now we can do challenges. I'm actually asking for prices, like if we can get licenses or texture packs from all these different platforms, and I wrote them all in email. So maybe we have actually soon more exciting challenges. And yeah, I'm thinking of topics. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So let me think if I missed anything. Obviously, I'm on Patreon, so if you want to support me and like what I do, I would appreciate it if you can go on the most basic tier and just sign up for that. It always helps a lot to get a bit more motivation going. Obviously, everything needs to be paid. I just bought a new microphone here, which is top notch, I think. And yeah, all of these little things help. So if you could help me out that way, it would be amazing. Just I like Shane just now, and oh, sorry, I forgot the name of the other person, but for the donation was great to just give a bit more support. And again, on Patreon is where the magic happens. Let me actually share the link. I updated it as well. It looks a bit nicer now. We've got an introduction video. And I just clean up the tiers. So let me just open it up quickly. Public page. Sorry, there we go. Well, my voice is also leaving me, so that's why it's a bit bassy, I think. It's a Rode one. Rode, which one is it? Rode NT1. Yeah, so I would highly appreciate it if you can check out the memberships here. Sign up, support me. Like, you can just, the basic is fine. $1 a month will not hurt you, and it will help me a lot. It will give me more exposure. If you go for higher tiers, you get definitely more Patreon. Like, you get like an exclusive Discord channel. And someone was looking for a mentorship. So there's one tier at the bottom which you can sign up for, and you get actually a one-on-one. Sung Kyung, June, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support here. Much appreciated. The team challenge, I will, once we have a new team challenge, I think you just asked here as well. We are right now fully loaded on the team challenge 01. But for the next one, it's first come, first serve. And then you can, guys, just participate and join us. Like, I'm trying to maybe have more, like, larger ones with more assets, so everyone can join. But it will be, yeah, I need to find the time to obviously manage all of this. Yeah, so again, thank you. I'm on Patreon. If you want the source files, these 3 scenes I just uploaded, worked on, will be uploaded to the source files if you want to check them out. And I think that's it. That was my, is it Sunday already? My Saturday. Days are just the same nowadays. Cool. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me just say thank you in the chat here. Much appreciated. And yeah, so again, if you are not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. And if you haven't liked it yet, please like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. I don't care. Just good to see how the feedback is. So yes, let me just move the Discord here. Thank you guys, and I wish you a healthy weekend, a healthy week, and and stay safe, right? You know the drills.